Welcome everybody. My name is Shannon Krasnowiecki. I'm with the Education Committee. We'd like to thank Rhonda Mesenbourg,
so close.
Sorry.
It's all good.
For the this is part 3 of the RPR. We really like to thank her a lot, giving her up her time for 3 series. Thank you, Rhonda. So it's and then also I'd like to introduce Brad Sudol for the luncheon. The lunch he sponsored. Is that it? Coastal One. Brad, would you like to come up and speak a little bit?
I'll just introduce myself. I'm Brad Sudol. I'm with Coastal One Credit Union, formerly known as Pawtucket Credit Union. Just changed their name last year. Been with the credit union. This is my 15th year anniversary. Been originating mortgages since 1990. Long time. A lot of experience. Not old, a lot of experience. Just to cover some of the products that we do offer, we're a local credit union. We do offer conventional and portfolio products. Some of the specialties that we do is construction loans, construction permanent loans, as well as we do offer financing on land with 20% down. We do have our own first-time home buyer program, 100% financing. It is not a Rhode Island housing product, and there are no income limits with it. Good option to Rhode Island housing. We do offer Rhode Island housing as well as FHA and VA. Some other niches are, we do offer 5% down on 2 to 4 unit owner-occupied properties, which is a very good option to FHA as well. We do service all our own loans, except for Rhode Island housing and FHA. So after the borrowers close, we do service the loans, which I really enjoy because it keeps you in touch with the customers and help them with, once they get their tax bills in, and it's a really nice, service to offer. Other benefits with our portfolio products is we actually offer modifications to our products as well. So, for instance, if somebody went with one of our portfolio products and 3 years from now the rates drop, like if they went with the 20-year fixed rate, if that rate dropped, we would actually modify their loan for them instead of going through a full refinance. We just charge a modification fee instead of all new closing costs. Other benefits are just that we do keep our closing costs very reasonable. Being a credit union, I think we have very low processing and origination fees. And we do that, as a benefit to the members. And we actually are spreading out. We originally were just Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Now we can lend in Florida, Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut as well. So, and as you know, we do have branches throughout the state. Yeah. And I think that covers the majority of it.
Brad, do you do manufactured homes?
We used to, but unfortunately they don't handle them anymore.
Okay.
The only 2 I know is Sterling and
Priority maybe?
could check with Greenwood. I heard Greenwood.
Washington Justice.
They all send them to priority.
Do they? Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Brad.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Rhonda. Hi. Thank you all for having me back again. I'm really excited about the turnout that we have today. There's so many of you here. This is, I think, our best turnout yet for the 3 series that we did. on RPR. Over the last 2 classes that we did, we learned how to just research property information on a specific property. We learned more about doing a CMA using RPR rather than using the MLS CMA system. And today, we're talking about something that's so important to all of us, right? Because we have such low inventory. And today, we're talking about how to use RPR to be able to find sellers and be able to find some inventory, find listings. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is one of my favorite ways to use RPR, and we use this in a variety of different ways, which we'll talk about. Let me just grab the clicker here. Show of hands, is anybody already using RPR for this purpose? Awesome. Great. There's some really good tools in here that are built in that you can find out information. Sometimes you want to send out maybe handwritten cards to a neighborhood, and you're just like, where do I get those homeowners' information from, and how do I get it in a handy way? We can use Vision. You can go on Vision and you can handwrite cards and you can try to download it, but there's no way to get it into a spreadsheet where it's easy to manage. RPR is going to show you how to do that super easy. So you can print labels, you can put it in a spreadsheet, you're going to have all that information handy for the neighborhood because it's using public records. So it's going to have everything. So we talk about this in every class, that what exactly is RPR for those of us that don't know. It is the National Association of Realtors Technology Company. It is available to all of us as a realtor. You access it through your dashboard on MLS. So when you log into MLS, there is an icon there for RPR, and it is accessible in all the states because it's a National Association of Realtor product. So if you're licensed in multiple states, when you log into that MLS, you should have an icon there on your dashboard so you can access it for each state that you're licensed in. It's a wholly owned subsidiary corporation, and it's a national database, parcel-centric, with property information. Over 166 million US properties are in RPR. So very, very powerful. And the cool thing is it's exclusively to use for you as a realtor. Your consumers do not have access to this database without you. So it is a way that you can provide value to the consumers by way of giving them information. Hi, Carol. They can give you information. You can give them information on their property, right? Things that maybe they don't know about their property, things maybe they don't know about their neighborhood. It digs in deep with all that information. And the great thing is there's no additional charge. It's just part of being part of the National Association of Realtors. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about farming. So who already is farming here? Is anybody? A couple of you? Okay, yep. So for those of us that don't know or not doing it, farming means that you're picking, a neighborhood. You're picking a location that you want to farm to, meaning you want to market yourself to and elevate your presence as the realtor of choice for that neighborhood. Maybe you're farming in your own neighborhood. Don't have to. You can choose another neighborhood that you're just interested in, that's close by to you, where you see a lot of turnover that you want to farm to. So we're going to talk about how you do that and identifying. It's not so much as just going out and saying, you know what, I like this neighborhood, so I think I'm going to farm it. It might not be the right neighborhood to farm. And we're going to show you today how to put some information about that neighborhood into a spreadsheet, and then it's going to tell you whether or not it's an actual worthwhile investment for you to farm that particular neighborhood. So RPR can help you choose the right neighborhood for farming for yourself. We just talked about, we're going to do some research. We're going to identify whether or not it's a good area. You're going to be able to get all the contacts for which you're going to mail to. And there's reports built into RPR. If anybody's using it, I'm sure you're familiar with the report section. You're going to then be able to generate reports. So you're farming this neighborhood, right? Eventually somebody's going to reach out to you and want to learn more about their property. So now you're going to be able to go back in to use those reports so you can give them more information. Or you can generate a report and use that as part of your farming activities to be reaching out to these folks on a monthly basis. And we're going to talk about all the RPR resources that are available to us. So questions to ask yourself when choosing an area to farm. Is this neighborhood nearby and easy to get to? Right? You may not want to farm a neighborhood that's an hour away from you, right? You want to farm a neighborhood that you know that you're local to, because that gives you some other inside information, right? And then when you're speaking to those homeowners, you can say, listen, I'm part of this community. I know this neighborhood, right? And it makes them a little bit more comfortable with you. However, there's nothing wrong with choosing a neighborhood that's 30 minutes from you if you feel that's easy for you to get to. Is it inside the normal commute? It depends on what you deem to be normal commute. Some of us like 5 minutes, some of us don't mind driving. And are you able to touch each homeowner every 3 to 4 weeks? So when you're choosing to farm, it's not about sending out one postcard and just waiting for your phone to ring. It's not going to happen. When you're farming an area, they need to hear from you over and over and over again. It's a process. So you have to be willing, and you also have to make sure that the area you're choosing, there's going to be a certain number of homes in that area. So does your budget allow you to reach out to that many homes every 3 to 4 weeks, right? If it doesn't, then maybe you just need to choose a smaller farm. So you can customize it to what you're looking to do, where you're looking to go, and what your budget is. So that way you can be effective at it. Because you're going to need consistency. Must have easy access. So let's talk about an acceptable turnover rate. Now, once we get through the presentation, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to actually show you using RPR how we're going to do this. Now, most of you, did you receive an email with there was a PDF attached? There is a spreadsheet that goes along with this. I'm going to show that to you. It is inside that PDF. So when you start going through that PDF, there's going to be a link to an Excel spreadsheet that you can make a copy of and use. So you're going to have that tool accessible to you. If anybody came in last minute today and maybe you didn't sign up so you didn't get that email, just let Kathleen know before you leave today. We'll make sure it gets into your hands. So what is an acceptable turnover rate? So we want to see a 5% turnover rate in the neighborhood or higher, right? If it's 5% or higher, then that makes it an acceptable neighborhood to farm. If there's only a 2% or a 3% turnover rate, pick a different neighborhood. There's not enough turnover there where it's going to make it worthwhile to you. And I'm gonna show you how we're gonna calculate that. So what kind of activity does it have? We're gonna look at the number of homes total in that neighborhood. We're going to look at the number of homes that have sold in the last 12 months in that neighborhood. We're going to look at the number of the homes currently on the market in that neighborhood. Those three numbers are going to be what calculates the turnover rate. Okay? I'm going to show you how to do that. So number of actives, number of pending, how many properties sold in the past year. So this is the calculation. The spreadsheet's going to do it for you, but if you wanted to know what that calculation is, you're going to divide the number of homes total by the number of homes sold in the last 12 months, and you're going to multiply that by 100, and that's going to be what the turnover rate is. So you can also take that, write that down, or take a picture of that, and you'll be able to just calculate it if you're on the fly, or maybe you're not in front of that spreadsheet. But the spreadsheet's going to do that for you just by plugging those numbers in. So some other things to look at as you're doing research on that neighborhood. Are the values increasing or decreasing in that neighborhood? Are there any distressed properties in that neighborhood? Now, ways to find out both of those things is going to be once you've identified, so you're going to do your research on this neighborhood to determine at the end of the day if it's the right place for you to farm. So once you get those statistics as to the total number of homes, how many actives, what's sold, how many are pending, then you can do a little bit more digging and do a market report for that neighborhood where it's going to tell you what the median sales price is, whether it's up, whether it's down, if those prices are increasing, decreasing. It's going to tell you the number of distressed properties that are in that neighborhood. So RPR, all of your research is going to be done right in RPR. So at the end of the day, you're going to say, okay, yes, this is the area I want to invest in, that I want to put my marketing dollars in to farm. So making sure that, as we already said, the number of homes is manageable, that your budget can allow you to be able to market consistently to those number of homes, right? So keep cost in mind. You have to be consistent about it. It's not one and done or sending things out a couple times a year. It's going to take more than 12 months, right? In most cases, it's going to take more than 12 months for you to really gain traction. Also knowing what agents are in that market, right? There might be an agent that lives in that neighborhood and they may dominate that neighborhood already. So that may or may not cause you to say, you know what, I'm gonna maybe go to the next neighborhood over, right? So just being able to understand who's selling in that neighborhood. Okay, so now we're gonna take a look. So just based on those slides, any questions off the top of your head?
Ron, if your houses are not in a traditional neighborhood, what radius do you use?
So
Map
you
search.
can, yep, so there's a way on the map search to do it by, so you can go in and I'm gonna show you how you can designate certain neighborhoods, but you can do a radius search of a mile. A mile is like that's the smallest increment that RPR has in there. And you can run that off of where you live, so you can put your address in there. And then also I'm gonna show you how you can move the little target around the map. But it gives you, the smallest increment is a mile, and it goes higher than that. Okay, great question. Anyone else have a question before we jump in? Okay. Look it, I didn't even knock that off today. It's good. Had a little problem with that last week. Okay. So before I jump into RPR, this is the spreadsheet that there is a link right in there, like I said, to your PDF, and it's pretty simple. So the spreadsheet, what I'm going to show you how to do is you just plug in the number of homes, how many homes sold in the last 12 months, and the number of current listings, and it's going to tell you the turnover rate that we're looking for, 5% or higher. So I'm going to reference that. So RPR is right here on our dashboard. It's going to automatically log you in when you're logged into MLS. There is also a mobile app for your phone that you can download from either App Store, whether you're on an Apple product or you're on Android. And so you can also have that app there too. Oh geez, come on, RPR, let's go. Okay, terrific. Okay, so utilizing your dashboard here, in order to get started, you're going to go under Research, and you're going to choose a map search. So then you can come over here to your location, okay, and I'm just going to put in Warwick, Rhode Island. And then you're going to see the map. And again, over here on the right-hand side here, you have all these tools. I'm just going to zoom out just a little bit. Now, as you're starting to look for, the neighborhoods of where you want to be, you may already know the neighborhood that you want. So you have a couple of options here. So you can come under Show Geographies here. If you click down, you can search by zip codes, right? Some of our towns have multiple zip codes, so you can put the zip code that you're looking in to dig down a little bit. And they also have these like macro neighborhoods, intermediate neighborhoods, minor, and micro. Now, these don't apply to all regions. You have to remember this is a national product. And in some other states, like all of those neighborhood designations really mean something. So usually what I do is I will just kind of start, and I will just kind of like click on one of them and see what I get if anything is being highlighted. So you can see that for micro neighborhoods, it's just kind of pinpointing a few things around here. So then I might go and I might try minor neighborhoods and see if I get something different. Okay, so get a couple of different things. I might choose intermediate neighborhoods. Now you can see that it's really starting to highlight things. Now, if there's something on there and you're like, okay, yep, I like this area, you can click on that area. It's going to highlight what it deems to be that entire intermediate neighborhood. And then what you can do is you can save this area if you want. If you're like, this is the area that I want to be in, you can save it. You can unselect it, right? Because if you leave it selected and then you go and select another one, it's then going to say now it has two, right? So you may have to just go in here. Don't be afraid. You're never going to break it. Just say, okay, nope, I don't really want that one. But you can kind of click around, right, and see what you want. Now, if you're looking on it, you say, I'm going to unselect this one. I'm going to select, and I can search in this area, right? So you can kind of pick and choose the area that you are particularly looking for. So I went ahead and I already saved a couple. So, for instance, I did this one here, which is around Gorton Pond here. So I saved this one here. So it will tell you how many properties are actually in that neighborhood. So you can say, I'm going to search in this neighborhood. Let's see. And you can go under. You can go up here. You go to sales. It's going to say, okay, what's active in this neighborhood? So right now, there's actually no actives in this neighborhood currently. So to begin your search, you're going to say, I want public records. And then you're just going to say search. And it's going to tell you what that total number of properties are in that neighborhood. Okay, so once you've identified the property that you might want to just start researching, you are going to go under the type status. You're going to say, I'm looking for public records. And you're going to leave this blank. You are not going to put how many are sold. You just want to know how many properties are total in that area. So we're going to say, right, and then you're going to hit this little search icon here to do the search. And then it's going to tell you up here. Okay, so 376. So we're going to go over now to our spreadsheet. I'm going to change this to say Gorton Pond so I can keep track. And total number of homes, I'm just going to plug in 376. Okay, then I'm going to go back over. Okay, so now we need to find out how many homes sold in the last 12 months. So I'm going to go back here, and now it says here, sold within. You can put your date range in manually, or if you click this little icon here in the middle, it's going to give you some options. So I'm going to say, I just want to know how many properties sold there during the last 12 months. You hit apply, and then you have to remember to always go and hit the search. Okay, so it says, okay, 17 properties sold in this neighborhood in the last 12 months. So we're just going to go over to our spreadsheet, and we're going to plug that number, total homes sold in the farm in the last 12 months. We're just going to plug that in. Now, we already know that there was 0 active because we looked at that a little bit a few minutes ago. So it does the calculation, and so look, this says there is a 4.5% turnover rate. So it's under 5. So maybe not the best area that you want to start spending your dollars in. It's close, but it's not 5 or above. So we're going to go back and we're going to say, okay, right, what other areas? Maybe that's not the best farm area for me. Remember, when you click on this too, you are able, I saved this area already. We talked about this last time. If there's an area and you will say save this area, it will come under this pull down. Okay, so here's Gorton Pond. I had already saved it. So I also, just in the essence of time, because I know I want to keep us moving here, I also saved this other area here, which was along Shore Road and Buttonwoods Ave. So let's look at this area. Let me zone out a little bit. And then Pat, I'm going to show you how to do the radius one as well. So in this instance, we're just going to do the same thing. So we're going to go under, we're going to say we want public records. I'm going to clear this because I just want to find out how many properties total are in this neighborhood. I'm going to hit my search. Okay, so with this one, there's 376. I'm going to just change this quickly here so I can keep track and I know what area is what.
Same number.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, you answered that up.
Now we're gonna go back again, and we're gonna look to see what sold in the last 12 months. So I'm gonna say 12 months. Remember to hit your little search icon. So 17.
I think there is
Why is your thoughts done?
because it's still in decline.
Yeah, I think you're doing the same thing.
Get rid of that. Let's do this again. See, we're here. We are here. Oh, you know what? Okay, you're right. So search this area. So we're gonna do that. So when you choose a new area, remember to click on it and remember just to say search in this area so it resets it. Thank you for that. Learn together here. All right, so let's do this again. So let's go up here. We're gonna say public records. I'm gonna clear. And then we're gonna hit our little search icon. That's always a change. We know we're in the right spot. So that is now $3.99. We're gonna go back. We're gonna click here again. Now we're gonna choose our 12 months. We're gonna say last 12 months, apply. Remember to hit the search button. 20. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna say 20 have sold in the last 12 months. And now we're gonna go back and we're gonna now change this to say for sale. And we just wanna know what's active on the market. If you want, you can include, active under contract and pending because they haven't closed yet. Whatever you would like to do, or you just do all active. And it says that there's 5 properties that are on the market and maybe just one under contract. So then you can add current listings is 5. Okay, so now that has hit the threshold of 5%. So this would be a candidate for you to farm because it has the right combination of total properties that sold in the last 12 months, and the number of active properties or in process properties. Now, the next 2 things for you to consider in this, of course, is okay. There's 400 homes in this neighborhood. So am I going to market to 400 homes? Do I have the budget that can market to 400 homes? So say you're like, I don't want to do it that way. I don't know if that's too many homes for me. So you can go in and you can say, I'm going to actually, so I'm going to say, I'm going to get rid of this. And, right, I'm going to say, you know what, I'm only going to maybe do a subset of this So you can come over, right, and there's all these other little areas, or you pick a different area. So you can do it a couple of ways. You can do it by drawing. So you can go into an area and you can just pick, whatever you want. It's actually pretty easy. Sometimes like the draw things are not that easy. You can just go in and then you can draw, right? Remember to say search in this area. And then you can go in and do the research. So you can make it a subset. You don't have to take what it deems to be that full neighborhood. You can create your own neighborhoods here. As Pat was asking, so if you want to say, I want it to be a distance from someplace. So when you click on the driving icon, you can say, I want it to be travel time. I want it to be distance. You can do traffic counts. There is a commercial toggle over here, which is where that would come more into play. But you can say, you know what, I want it to be, you would put a starting address in here. So you can put your home address, you can put the address of a landmark, or you can grab this. If you see, I just changed my grip here, and you can move this around, and you can say, I want it to be a mile from here. So you would just do that, or you can type the address in, you would say next, you would choose that, you would say next, and then it's going to give you that mile. So a mile is it's kind of big, so you have to just keep that in mind. The other way you could do it, delete that, hit that again, and then we can say travel time, right? So same thing, you can drag this around, and you can say next, and you say I'm traveling by car, to even say what time of day you're traveling, right? I'm going to be traveling there likely around, say, 1 p.m. I'm going to be traveling there whatever day, technically, and I really just want it to be within 10 minutes, which is very far. I don't know if that's true or not, but you do have that option. So you have those options that you can try to just determine what works for you and what areas that you want to research. There's no way that takes 10 minutes. Just saying.
Quick question.
Sure.
So I noticed you're on the filter bar, you've got single family selected.
Yep.
If you were interested in, so it's only counting the number of single family houses.
Exactly, yep,
Not
so
all.
you can add all, you can just, check this, Bruce, and you can have all of them checked the whole time, which might change those numbers. Or you can just say, you know what, I really want to, I just want to farm this condo community, right? So maybe there's a condo community in there, but you're choosing your radius that there are some single families, dripped in there. If you just choose condo, it's gonna weed those out for you. So you can use that in all of these ways to really hone in on what was. There is a way, now it's not connected to RPR, but if you saw, let me see if I can find this list. There is a way through the United States Postal Service, and I think it might be in your PDF, the actual link to it, but if you look back at this spreadsheet, it does have an estimated cost per mailing. And if you go to that link on the United States Postal Service website, you will be able to put in the address or the location of where you want to mail, and it will give you a per cost price. So that way you can then plug this in. So that way, again, right, this is all about research and making sure it also fits in within your budget. You don't want to start spending money and farming an area only to find out after 2 months, you're like, this is so expensive and I don't want to start, I just can't continue doing this. And then you kind of, is it a total waste of money? Maybe not, but really for it to be effective, you need to be consistent at it. So as much research that you can do up front is going to be helpful. So that way, you're making the right decision and you can make that commitment to this is going to be my farm area, right? So don't get super crazy with it. I'm gonna have like 5 different areas I'm farming. Just concentrate on one and see how that goes. But your testing time should at least be 12 months to know that whether or not you're getting a return on your investment.
Rhonda, it's on page 16.
Awesome. Okay, so page 16 of your PDF. I know I have it open here. There it is, page 16. There you go, direct mail calculator, so right here, number 23. This PDF is awesome. By the way, there's a lot of good links in there. So if you want to estimate a campaign, you can say what your marketing mail or first class mail, whatever you're going to choose. I'm going to send postcards. You can choose. You're going to do it yourself. I'm going to use a house list because I'm going to show you how to get that. And I'm going to do, based on what we were doing, we were less than 500. So it's going to give you an approximate cost. So just by filling out this little information here, every time you mail to them, it's going to be about $400. So you're going to know if you're going to do that 12 times over the course of the year, right? Your cost is going to be about $4,800. Does that fit in my marketing campaign? Right? Maybe you want to just do something that's only 200 houses, or maybe you want to do something that's only 100 houses. That's a good sized neighborhood, right? So start small. Start small. Maybe you have a couple smaller neighborhoods scattered around instead of one big neighborhood. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. Let me go back. I'm going to go back and pull up this one here. Okay. This is where we already started doing our research here. So I'm just going to go back here. Search back in here again where we had those properties. This is our same area. What was our total before?
I think you're doing all properties now, you did just.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Bruce. I did do that when I had to put down that. Let's go back to just single. That's gonna be better. We don't need to market to those. Okay, so say we say, these are our 400 people, we are committed to this farm, this is what we're doing. So now I wanna get all the names of all of those, the folks that live here, so right here, right, mailing labels, it's right here for you. So you are just gonna click on the mailing labels. You can choose to save it as a CSV file. You can also choose to do it as a PDF, and then you can even just have it already do the labels that you're using, the Avery labels, if you want to just print it. If you come down here, you can customize it. So you can say what kind of property type it is. You can have it addressed to the owner name of record. You can say owner name and or current resident, or you can just say current resident, whichever your preference is. You can even choose a custom name depending on what it is and how many. You can say occupants, filters, occupancy type. Is it all? Do you only want owner occupied properties? Do you only want absentee owner properties, right? Maybe part of your farmers are like, I just want to reach out to the people that are the absentee owners that aren't there. I want to reach out to those people. So you have a lot of parameters in here that you can build from to choose exactly what you're looking for. And some of these questions you'll be like, oh, I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think, do I want owner occupied? Do I want up? Do I want both? So there's a lot of parameters and power just built in here that's going to make you ask yourself questions that maybe you're not asking yourself already.
So Rhonda, so this is basically all this information, the addresses, et cetera, coming right from RPR?
So they're coming from that public records.
Wow.
Yep, they're coming from public records for you. And then you're going to either, it says you can exclude listed properties, right? We're not supposed to solicit others' listings. So you can say, you know what, anything that's already listed, I'm not going to solicit to them. It's not a bad idea. And also if you want to exclude properties on the do not mail list, which is smart too, right? Because you don't want to get called out on that stuff. It's not worth it to send a few more postcards.
So this is a place where I've had trouble. So when I use absentee owner,
Okay?
how do I know what property the label is about?
Yeah, right, because it's going to send it to their, yeah. So let's test that, Bruce, while we're doing that. I'm gonna use that as our, so we're gonna just say we only want absentee owners. We're gonna exclude anything listed, we're gonna exclude anything on the do not mail list, and we're gonna exclude properties with an incomplete address because quite frankly, they're just gonna be sent to you and it's gonna be a waste of money. So just, you don't need to do those. We're gonna say, we're gonna put it as a CSV, and we're gonna do all, and then and so also important to note, you see this little square here. So in NPR, you can export up to 2,000 properties, 2,000 per month. So there is a limit to the number of mailing labels that you can pull. So, I mean, and 2,000 is a very healthy number, right? That's a lot of mailers to go out. So, but just know you get 2,000 per month. It resets itself automatically on the first day of every month, automatically. Okay, just wanted to make note of that. So we're gonna say export, let's open this file and see.
Rhonda, can I ask a question about that? So with that, can only one user get that mailing?
I believe, Linda, that it is per person logged in, so it is per
So that's
account.
why they do it only 2,000 a month?
Yeah, it's per user. So I would be able to download 2,000. If Carol was logged in, she could download 2,000. That's per the person who's running the search.
But not the same search?
No, not the same search. So if we were both farming the same area,
Yes.
is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's per person. So I could download because it doesn't know what.
Yeah, so I think that's important to know.
Yeah, yep. So it's individual. Okay, Bruce, so we only asked for, so out of that 399 properties, there's 22 that are absentee owner. So let me just do this so I can see what this is here.
So right there, you solved my problem, because I was going directly to labels. By
Okay.
going to the CSV, now I can see the property address as well as the tax mailing address.
Yep.
Sometimes they're the same.
Sometimes they are the same, but sometimes they're different, because look at this, right?
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
7 Joel, and then this is
Right.
25. So yeah, I mean, sometimes even though the owner's absentee, they still have that as their tax, right? As their tax address. But it's still, what's nice about it is it's saying that these are absentee owner, so you can decipher. You can, if you wanted to, and say you still want to mail to all of those, but say you just want to know who the absentee owners are to have them, and so you can maybe change the conversation that you're going to have with them, right? Or maybe send them something a little bit different than the people that are owner occupied. So you can still pull the 399 addresses, but just pull them in 2 different lists. And then you can name one, right, Shore Ave, Buttonwoods Ave, owner occupied, the other one absentee owner, so now you know what list is what list. So that way, it's all about having meaningful conversations, so you're not having the same conversation for people in different situations. Right? Kind of cool. Any questions on that?
Yes, I have one. I
Sure.
don't know what CSV is.
So CSV, it is a comma separated value. So typically, if you are downloading to Excel, that's the way it's going to download it. And what it means is if you look at the raw data of that file, it's going to have, it'll have owner first name, comma, owner one first, comma. So it's just the way it builds the file, but Excel will read it. So you can open it in Excel, and Excel will, if you say this is a comma separated value file, it's going to know that every time it sees a comma, it's going to create another row or another column. Okay, so they're comma separated. In Excel, you can save things as comma separated, as tab separated. So you have a lot of different ways that you can save things. It's a very common way that files will get saved, and that makes them compatible with Excel or any other spreadsheet software typically that you're using. If you're not, this is just an aside, if you're not an Excel user, if you don't have Excel, or you don't have that Microsoft suite, Google does a really good job with their Google Sheets, Google Docs, that's actually what I use, and it'll read those files. Good question. Any other questions on this? Okay. You can pull that up. So that's how quickly you can just make your mailing labels. Now, the next thing that, if you remember back to our slideshow, it was talking about, okay, so like now let's do a little bit more research on this, right? It was saying, do you know how many agents are already in that neighborhood? Are there any dominant agents in that neighborhood? Right? What's the median sale price? Are the values increasing? Are the values decreasing? This is all going to just go into you doing that research to decide if this is the right farm neighborhood for you to spend your money on. So you can now go over to this create report here, and you can choose and say, so it automatically, when you click on that, it automatically is going to go to the market activity report. Okay, this is available for neighborhoods. It's approximately 26 pages. So in RPR, in the report section, you can customize all of your reports. You can pick and choose what you want to be in your report. So if there's some data you don't want it, uncheck it. You also have the ability to add custom pages. So if there's a couple custom pages that you have, you can just come over here, manage custom pages. You might add a welcome letter, right? Like a cover sheet to all of your reports. So if you are creating a report specifically for somebody, there's a little cover page, a little bit about you. Maybe you have a page of testimonials that you want to include, and you can pick and choose to automatically add those to any of these reports, right? Do it once, upload it, and then those are there for you.
Ron, is this the same information that gets imported into the CNA?
Yes, yep, this is the same information gets imported into the same. So same reports dashboard here. Though because you just did like that, that neighborhood, it's just going to. So I'm going to show you what the report looks like. So again, down here you can toggle any of these things. You can say what you're looking for. If you only want single family, you can check these. You can say whether you don't want anything for lease, you only want to see for sale, you can get rid of that. You can choose, right, anything, you can look at price changes if you want. You can also run the report for any changes in the last 3 months, anything up to 6 months. So if you're running this report often, and if you're sending it maybe to a person here, then that might be important to you. You might want to send them this report, but you only want to see changes in the last 3 months. So all of these reports are customizable to what you're looking for and what your client may be looking for. So let's just run this report here and let's just see. So usually it's going to be running it for you. You can close this. If you come up to the top here, it's going to tell you all of your reports that you've run, and it's going to tell you this one still has a couple of minutes remaining, so that way you can keep track of it. Don't forget, if it's like your first time in RPR, to like fill in make sure your picture is in there, make sure your brokerage information is in there, right? So that way your reports are complete and your profile, your picture is on there. So I just chose to run it and open it so you can say download it. So this is just giving me the report directly for all of Warwick, right? So again, in some of our neighborhoods, it's not going to home down into exactly the area you selected. It might be a little bit more broad here because our neighborhoods here, like in the training for this, that when I took it, they were doing properties in Arizona where the neighborhoods were, like the neighborhoods all had little names, they were little blocks. So in that case, they were really able to home down to that specific neighborhood. You may or may not be able to do that here depending on what the neighborhood is, right?
So when you highlighted, say, everything on either side of Buttonwood, for example,
Yep.
And then you run this report,
This is
it's not gonna be the
defaulting
Buttonwood piece, it's gonna be.
It's gonna be of Warwick, right? So in some other neighborhoods, Bruce, it may get that granular for you. I tried to change it here because you can go up to the top and try to change it. But in some cases, it's just we just have different neighborhoods here, right? Every place is a little different. So just be forgiving of that and just be like, okay, you know what, this is giving me data for Warwick, but still it's in that vicinity, so you can still use that information, right? But just know that.
So Rhonda, you couldn't select like a village.
You could, yeah, and maybe if it's really recognizable, it might do it. I would absolutely try it, but it may not do it. So then you just might have to default to the town data. So the market activity report is going to tell you what the estimated home value is. Is it up or down? What's the change over the last 3 months, 12 months, over the last 24 months, right? So we're talking right in this market, over the last 24 months, our prices are still increasing, right? What's interesting is here, even over the last month, that median home value is up 1.4%, right? So important to know. The market snapshot, as far as the 12-month change in estimated value. And we talked about knowing if there's any distressed properties in that neighborhood. So if you choose a neighborhood, we don't have a lot of distressed properties in this market right now, right? Maybe they're gonna start coming back a little bit, but there's not a lot as there were in other years. But that might be important. If you're in a neighborhood where there's just a lot of distressed properties, you have to decide whether or not you understand and that you're comfortable dealing with distressed and bank-owned properties, right? You might be, you might not be. It might make you make that decision. Okay, it's just data, right? Data is, knowledge is power. So median sales price, median list price, right? So looking at all of this data, it's like very interesting. And so then it's going to come down, it's going to give you a little bit of a summary here and tell you kind of what those parameters were. It's going to tell you the number of properties that are new listings, pendings, closed, and price changes. It's then going to go down, it's going to show you, it said that there were 10 active properties, it's going to show you what those active properties are.
Rhonda, can you go back up to that map for a second?
Sure.
That's a subset of Warwick, is it not?
It's the zip code 02889.
Oh, so it's the zip code, okay.
Yeah, so it was breaking it down by zip code, not in the whole town. And you can do that in that map search, Bruce. You can do neighborhoods. You can also just go by zip code. And probably maybe because our neighborhood was in that zip code, it did hone it down a little bit. It didn't include all of Warwick, but it got it maybe down to that zip code.
So if you had a zip code that went from one town to another town, would it include, like North Providence has 02904, which is also Providence, so would it include the Providence
Well, let's see.
people?
Let's see, right? That's what we're here for. Let's go here, let's go to that map search. So you can click here by zip code. So let's see. 02904.
Yeah.
Let's see what it does.
See, it says
So
Providence,
it
but
says-
it's
so I'm
also
not gonna
North
click on
Providence.
that. I'm just gonna hit enter and then let's see what it does. Too many results. Okay, but
Oh, but
Yeah, good.
See, it's
but you can see the map
Providence
though.
and North
so it
Providence.
so it did get everything in that zip code. And
So
so
then-
again, if you're looking at this and you're like, okay, well, I don't want all of that, right? Remember, you have these tools here where then you can go in and say, you know what, I just want this little area right here. This is what I want, and now that's the area that I'm going to search in. Okay, so you can get, and obviously that's a very dense area, so you can make it a little smaller, so you can go back out and say, you know what, that's kind of a lot.
So if she were to do a market report, it would be for the larger area.
So let's see, so let's click on create report. And maybe if we try North Providence 02904, maybe it only gives you the North Providence ones, let's see. Finalizing the report, let's see what the map looks like on this report. So it did all of 02904, so let's go back. And let's say, we're still gonna do the market report is clicked, so let's say, North Providence. Oh my God, every other one but the O. North Providence, Rhode Island, 02904.
Does it need this zip?
I'm gonna put this in
Yeah,
the in case there's more, is there more than one zip in North Providence?
Yes.
So if you see now, it's saying Providence,
Yeah.
so let's see what we got here. Let's see.
Yeah,
So
what
it
they
might
said,
just
too.
give you everything in the zip code, but let's see if it's different. Yep, so
Yeah.
it really just wants to default to that entire zip code.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, there might be a few limitations in here that you're just going to, again, and that for the fact of the report, if you're presenting this report to somebody, just explain to them, listen, it's just going off the whole zip code. I know your neighborhood's smaller than this, but it is just giving us results for the whole, for that zip code. So just be aware of that.
So one more
No,
question
go ahead,
about
yeah.
that. So there's no way to have it run granular data instead of that pretty report. So then you could, in CSV format, and then you could filter out the streets you don't want.
So let's go back to where we were here. Let's go back to where we were. Let's go back to, I'm gonna say areas, let's say search in this area here. Okay. So now if we, let's see if there's a way to, so in here, create market activity report, let's see if we click on it there. Let's see what it says at the top. Okay, now let's just see if anything changes. I think it's still gonna do 02889. So I think the answer to that is probably no, it's going to just run it based on that zip code.
But I guess you could borrow this logic from this and use matrix data instead.
You could, yeah,
And
I
then
mean,
build it yourself.
yeah, I mean, you could, I do think, and this is just my personal opinion, that you know, these statistics that you're getting from here, I think that they are going to be good enough to aid you in the decision as to whether or not you want to farm that neighborhood, because it's for that zip code and the trend is the trend, right? So I do think that that is going to be okay. And then what I would suggest is if you went back, then like if you're trying to determine and we're gonna say we wanted to see things that are currently on the market, under contract or pending right now, right? So we're gonna search those. And then, so once you now we wanna know who has these listed to now see who's the dominant. If you come in here and you say, show me just what's active under contract, I just wanna know who's in there right now, right? And then if you go to the grid view here, or if you go to the list view here, I think now if you click on these, this may tell you who actually has this listed, or you can then go into MLS and just say, okay, I want to know who has this house listed. And then you can pick that trend to say it's the same agent who has 3 out of the 5 listed, and you know somebody is pretty active. If it's 5 different agents, or maybe somebody has 2 and then the rest are others, there still may be a strong enough, right? And then you can go even more so and look at the ones that sold in the last 12 months, a subset of those, just to see, okay, right? And Bruce, for that, you might want to use MLS data to create that spreadsheet, so you can sort it by listing agent, right? Or you can sort it by selling agent, just to kind of get that trend to see, wow, this person does a lot of business here. So is it again going to be, you know, worthwhile? I mean, I'm of the strong belief that there is enough business in our state for all of us to sell the number of houses that we want to sell every year. And it's just about finding an area, if farming is something that you want to jump into, or something you already do and you're just looking for a new neighborhood. It's just a way for you to be able to find that niche neighborhood for yourself where it makes sense for you to spend your money, right? And to maybe elevate yourself as the agent, you know, of choice for that neighborhood. So from here, now you can go into, you can kind of see all of the data for the ones that are currently, you know, on the market there, and the ones that are under. So this one, you know, sometimes people list them as 2 separate ways. I'd have to look and see what the data is for, if they had it listed maybe 2 separate ways or something. But, you know, there's a lot of data here. So, and of course, you know, you're going to use the MLS system alongside of it, because that's going to be kind of the supporting player in here. But there's a lot you can do with an NPR to get that initial information. And then maybe there's something that you're like, what is that? You know what, I'm going to just go look at MLS and just kind of, just so I fully understand. Okay, it's 12:30. Any questions? What did you guys think? Was this something that you're like, wow, this is really cool?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, right? Yeah, this was like one of my favorite topics to talk about, because we need more inventory. We all need, right? I also use this sometimes if I have another way to use this tool to get the mailing labels is sometimes maybe you have a buyer who says, I really want to be in this neighborhood. I love this neighborhood, right? Or these are the 3 neighborhoods that I want to be in. We will just come in and we will find those properties in that neighborhood. We'll generate addresses and we'll send handwritten cards and say, we are working with a buyer who would absolutely love to purchase a home in this neighborhood. Are you thinking of selling your home in the near future? Call me so we can have a conversation. So we do that a lot as well and it's a way for you to add value to that buyer, to say, if they say nothing's on the market right now, that's okay, because we're going to go out and we're going to try to find an off-market home for you to buy. Right? So you can use the same thing for farming, but you can also use it as a value for your buyers as well. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Brad, for the lunch. lunch. And if everybody could take a few minutes just to fill out the survey, it helps us out a lot. And if anybody wants a class be presented, if you can write it down, we do look at them. So, and if anybody wants to join the education committee, feel free. Thank you.
For the program.